We're going to start from the front headlock again. We're going to set up the Anaconda, but this time your training partner does the right response. We'll talk Mike through it when we get there, right? So again, chin strap, open grip, bring the elbow outside the shoulder, palm facing down on the choking hand, we get gable grip, ear goes into the armpit, we start walking to the elbow, raising our right elbow high. When he dips his right shoulder, we sit our left knee under our right knee and then we roll to our right hip here. My goal is to stay on my right side and then bring, like say, his arm in towards his neck and then try to get my hips or my chest covering his head, or my chest I should say, covering his head, and then my hips walking towards his hips. Knowing this, when we land, what Mike is going to try to do is he's going to try like frame on my hips and keep me away here. Alright, so if I try walk in, he's framing on my hips and I can't get it. So if we find that we're not able to clear these grips and going into our Anaconda, so if you kind of keep framing, we're going to go in open grip again. I'm going to bring my elbow down to my hip and then the other elbow down to the hip on the chin strap. I then go belly up instead of being on my side. I'm going to split my legs with his arm and I create like a wedge here. So we catch with our right leg, cross my feet and I pinch my knees. We reinforce this elbow grip here, which is really important. So I bring my elbow in towards my hip. So now if Mike tries to turn left and right, we've really good control. Just to kind of, I suppose, to work on this before we go into our crucifix, if he kind of favors, like say, his left shoulder, so he tries to go to his left shoulder, if you go back to this side here, this allows me to go back in to the Anaconda, all right? If he doesn't take the bait and he kind of stays belly up, what we do is we roll to our outside hip, we free our head, free our arm, we take an underhook, seatbelt, and then now we're into our crucifix, all right? So it's a really good option. You can play the two of them off each other. So you can use that kind of knee pinch grip to either go back to the Anaconda, or if you find it's not on or you just prefer to go to the crucifix, you can do that on the opposite side. So again, so we managed to get our front headlock grip, we break him down, we roll to our right hip. He does the right thing, he flares his elbow and he frames on my hips here. I find I'm not able to close the elbow to get the Anaconda, so we open up our hands. We grip the chin strap, pull our elbow into our hip, we grip the elbow and then we bring our elbow into the opposite hip here. I bring my knees like up towards my chest, I split my legs with his arm and I pinch here. Bring my right leg on top, cross my feet and pinch my knees. Really important that to have strength in this grip, we need to use our left hand as well. All right, because if I just use my legs, he's probably just going to pull his arm out here. All right, so we're going to control the wrist and we're going to control the elbow. How we control the elbow is we bring our own elbow in towards our hip. So now if he tries to free his arm, this is going to buy me time. At any stage, if he manages to go back to his left shoulder or I go to my right hip, I can go back on the Anaconda. If I find he's just doing a good job of kind of staying flat, what I'll do is I'll create momentum, roll to the left hip, I'll pull my head out here, free my arm and we take an underhook. Once we get the underhook, we release the chin strap, we switch to a seatbelt, and then we go into our crucifix position. All right, so this is really important. So when you land here, so you chin strap, elbow grip. See the way I don't have like much of a bite on the kind of the wrist or the hand here. What I'm gonna do is when I roll to my left hip, I'm gonna feed him kind of deeper, or his arm deeper in between the lock by using this chin strap. So I'm gonna use like a pushing motion. So if you kind of look what I'm doing with my right hand, I'm using my right hand to push him down, so now I get a good bite on that arm. So if we just go back there one more time, so that's really important. So just because some of you, when you're coming up into the crucifix, you're kind of losing this. You can see that there isn't too much control here with just the legs on their own, but we reinforce the grip by using this hand grip here, or false grip, and bring our elbow into our hip. When I roll to my left hip, my right hand pushes to feed his arm deeper into the lock. So if you kind of look at that one more time, and even I'm using my left hand as well to pull down as well. So I'm using my left hand and I'm pushing with my right hand, so it looks like this. Here, all right, so one, you're gonna get more connection on the arm, and two, you're gonna have less weight on you, so you're gonna be able to free your head and your arm. All right, so let's just add that detail in. So 3, 2, 1. So again, we have our chin strap, open front headlock grip, lock our hands, ear into the armpit, open our elbow, we start walking, we sit through, and we go to set up our Anaconda Choke. Or if he stays on his hip and his elbow is kind of like tucked closer to his body, we have the Anaconda Choke here. If he does the right thing and he's framing and trying to free his head, we unlock the hands, we take a chin strap and elbow grip. I roll to my, say, left hip and I go belly up. Bring my knees to my chest. I'm going to clamp to get this hand in between my legs. My outside leg, so my right leg, I'm going to use this to pinch, so my calf goes to my hamstring. We cross our feet, so we're not locking a triangle, we're just going across feet and we pinch our knees tight. Really important to get the strength in this kind of control. We grip the elbow and we bring our elbow into our hip here. That's really important. Now I create like a rocking motion to get like momentum. I roll to my left hip, and what I do is I peek my head up the back and then I extend my legs here to get a bite on the arm. All right, because this is going to make a big difference when we get into the crucifix. We free our left hand and we cup this shoulder here. Once we get the grip on the shoulder, we go to a crossface and then we upgrade to a seatbelt. I'm going to bring my knees up towards the ceiling, so I point them up towards the ceiling and I make sure that my feet are past the line of the shoulders here. All right, this is going to give me like really good control in the crucifix. All right, so for our first finish, what we're going to do is going to bring this left knee up towards our training partner's armpit and rib. My right leg I flare, and then to get extra kind of stretch in the arm, I go with a wrist to wrist grip and I bring his head in the opposite direction. So I want you to kind of think of this nearly as an elastic band. So your right leg is kind of flaring, your left knee is coming up to your chest here or up towards your training partner's armpit. We get this butterfly grip or wrist to wrist grip and I pull his head in the opposite direction to where his hand is facing. All right, so we'll run through that one last time and then we'll give it a go. So front headlock, we roll through, he blocks the hips, open the hands, we get our grips like we spoke about, bring our knees to our chest and we cross our feet here. We pinch our knees, really important we focus on this grip. Pinky goes into the crease of the elbow and I bring my left elbow into my hip. Rocking chair motion here, so to create momentum. We get to our left hip, I'm going to peek my head out, free my left arm and then just kind of pay attention to what I do with my right legs, or with my right leg and left leg. I get more of a bite on this arm. Free my left arm, we get an underhook, crossface, seatbelt, and then we switch to knees up towards the ceiling. Make sure your feet are up past the shoulder line, really important. All right, so I'm gonna bring my foot to the floor, I flare my knee, and I bring my left knee up to my chest. I go with a wrist to wrist grip, and I pull his head in the opposite direction to where his hand is facing to get the top. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Again, so we break our partner down. On the first one, if he stays on his hip and we keep the elbow closed, we can go into our Anaconda Choke. If he defends this by kind of framing on my hips and using his hands, we can use this to control the leg. Here, we can either go back to our right side, start to pin the elbow and go into the Anaconda. If we find that's not on, what we can do is we can upgrade to the crucifix position here. All right, we take our underhook, we keep the chin strap, we switch to a crossface and then a seatbelt. You can go a regular seatbelt, or the one that I find that you kind of get more control is figure 4 seatbelt here. All right, so we're gonna bring my feet up to the shoulder line, I put my knees up to the ceiling here. We're gonna create pressure with the armbar, so I'm gonna bring my knee down, flare it, so that's my right knee, bring my left knee up towards my chest, and we bring his head facing in the opposite direction of his hand. If he starts to bridge and take his back off the floor to relieve the pressure, we're gonna push off our right foot. I'm going to bring my left knee under and I connect my left knee to his left hip. My left foot is on the floor. I'm going to use this to pivot, get to my right side, and then we get a bottom arm trap and we can go into the rear naked choke. Figure 4 seatbelt. Bring the feet up to the shoulder line. We're going to create pressure by bringing our knee down and flaring it down towards the hand. Left knee comes up. We bring his head, or turn his head in the opposite direction of where his hand is facing. He bridges to relieve pressure here. Once I see space underneath his lower back, I press off my right foot to get my left knee under his left hip here. Now I press off my left foot to get back to my right hip, and then we get a bottom arm trap. All right, so that's our last one. So 3, 2, 1.